Days passed in a blur. Aminu barely remembered the moments when he was conscious. The sterile scent of the hospital, the beeping of machines, and the muffled voices all seemed distant and unimportant to him. His body, battered and bruised, was healing, but his spirit remained as broken as the stones the villagers had thrown at him. When he finally opened his eyes, he found himself in a small white room. The sharp light from a lone bulb overhead made him squint. For a moment, he thought he was still dreaming, but then a voice broke through the haze. "You're awake," the woman said, standing by his bedside. She was older than him, perhaps in her mid-30s, with tired eyes that still carried a trace of worry. She was the one who had hit him, or so he assumed. He tried to speak, but his throat was dry and no words came out. I'm sorry," she whispered, her voice thick with regret. "I didn't see you. I was in a hurry, but you'll be okay now." She reached for the cup of water on the side table and gently helped him drink. Her hands were warm, steady, an anchor in his chaotic world. When the doctor arrived, she was asked to leave. The woman stood at the door for a moment, unsure, but before she left, she said softly, "You're safe now. I'll be back tomorrow to check on you." Days passed, and Aminu slowly recovered. His body began to heal, but his mind was still trapped in the prison of his village's curse. He had never felt so lost in his life. Finally, when the day came for his discharge, the woman returned. She stood by his bedside, holding a small bag with his belongings. "Where will you go?" she asked, her voice gentle but probing. Aminu stared at the floor, unsure of what to say. "I don't know anyone here," he mumbled, his words barely audible. "I have nowhere to go." The woman's eyes softened, a flash of understanding passing over her face. She hesitated for a moment, then made a decision. "You can stay with me," she said firmly. "I have a spare room. It's not much, but it's safe." Aminu was taken aback. "No, I can't impose. You've already done so much for me." She shook her head, her smile warm but insistent. "I won't take no for an answer. You need a place to stay, and I have the space. Besides, I could use some help around the house. Just help me with the small things and you'll be fine." He didn't know what to say. It was hard to accept kindness after so many years of rejection, but her offer felt genuine. With no other option, he reluctantly agreed. For the next few weeks, Aminu became her errand boy. He watered the plants, swept the floor, and helped with the groceries. But something inside him felt wrong. He didn't belong there. He was still the Jinx, the bad luck that the world had turned its back on. And as much as the woman tried to make him feel at home, the guilt gnawed at him. Then, one evening, as the sun dipped low in the sky, Aminu sat outside, alone in the garden. The wind whispered through the trees, and without thinking, his lips parted, and a soft, haunting melody escaped his throat. It was a song he had never sung before, a song of longing, of pain, of hope. The woman walked by and heard the music. She stopped, listening, her eyes wide with surprise. She had never heard him sing before. The raw emotion in his voice took her by surprise. It was beautiful, more beautiful than anything she had ever heard. "You have a gift," she said softly, her voice barely a whisper. "Why didn't you tell me you could sing?" Aminu looked away, his face flushed with embarrassment. "It's nothing, just a song." "No, it's not nothing," she said, walking closer to him. "You have talent. I've seen it in you. You shouldn't hide it. You should pursue it." He shook his head. "People think I'm cursed. Everything I touch turns bad. I can't." "Enough," she said, her tone firm. "You're not cursed. You have something special, and you shouldn't let fear stop you from reaching for your dreams. I'll help you." Aminu stared at her, disbelief in his eyes. "You would help me?" She smiled, her gaze steady and kind. "Yes, If you trust me, I'll help you. We'll go to a studio. We'll record that song. I'll help you get your music out there. He didn't know what to say. Could it really be that simple? Could he really have a future, a life outside the shadows of his past? Days later, they went to the studio. Aminu's heart raced as he stepped into the recording booth. The music started and he sang, his voice stronger and more confident than ever before. The woman sat behind the glass, smiling, nodding her approval. When the song was released, it was an instant hit. People loved it. The world heard Aminu's pain, his heartache, and his undeniable talent. The song became a banger, played on every radio station, shared by millions. Aminu, the boy once exiled for being a jinx, was now a star. As his fame grew, so did his love for the woman who had never given up on him. She had been his anchor, his guide through the storm, and in return, he promised her his heart. One quiet evening, after the success had settled in, Aminu knelt before her. "I don't know how to thank you," he said, his voice thick with emotion. "You've given me a chance when no one else would. I want to spend my life with you." Tears welled in her eyes, and she nodded. "I believe in you, Aminu. Always have." And so, from the ashes of rejection and loneliness, Aminu found love, success, and a future. He wasn't a jinx. He was a man with a gift that would change his life and the lives of those around him forever.